Victorian mansion stood as a sentinel, its faded grandeur a stark contrast to the modern world that surrounded it. Local legend whispered tales of a ghost that haunted the house, a vengeful spirit known as Bloody Mary. The story began in the late 19th century when a young, beautiful woman named Mary lived in the mansion with her wealthy, abusive husband. Driven to despair, Mary took her own life, her blood staining the bathroom tiles a ghastly crimson. Over the years, the legend of Bloody Mary grew. Children dared each other to summon her by saying her name 3 times into a mirror while facing a darkened room. It was said that if done correctly, Bloody Mary would appear in the mirror, her face contorted in a terrifying grimace, her eyes bloodshot and filled with rage. One crisp autumn evening, a group of teenagers fueled by a mix of bravado and youthful curiosity decided to test the legend. They gathered in the old mansion, its creaking floorboards and echoing hallways adding to the eerie atmosphere. "Let's do it," Sarah, the bravest of the group, declared. She stepped into the bathroom, the only room in the house with a full-length mirror. The others followed, their hearts pounding in their chests. Sarah turned to face the mirror, her reflection distorted by the dim light. She took a deep breath and spoke the words, her voice barely a whisper. "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." Nothing happened. The room remained silent, save for the distant creak of a floorboard. Disappointed, the teenagers were about to leave when they heard a faint sound like a whisper coming from behind them. They turned slowly, their eyes wide with fear. In the doorway stood a figure, its face shrouded in darkness. As the figure stepped into the light, they gasped. It was Bloody Mary, her eyes glowing with an unnatural intensity, her face a mask of pure hatred. Panic ensued as the teenagers scrambled to escape the bathroom, but Bloody Mary was faster. With a chilling shriek, she lunged at Sarah, her icy fingers closing around her throat. The others watched in horror as Sarah's face turned purple, her eyes bulging with terror. Just as it seemed that Sarah was doomed, a blinding light filled the room. The figure of Bloody Mary vanished, replaced by a shimmering, ethereal being. It was the ghost of Mary's husband, who had been haunting the mansion as well, consumed by guilt for his treatment of his wife. The ghost of the husband approached Sarah, his spectral form radiating a sense of peace. He placed a gentle hand on her forehead, and Sarah's eyes fluttered open. She was alive, but shaken. The ghost of the husband then turned to the other teenagers, his gaze filled with sorrow. "I am sorry for the terror I have caused," he said in a voice that seemed to echo through the room. "I have been trapped here, tormented by my guilt, but now I can finally find peace." With a final, mournful cry, the ghost of the husband disappeared, leaving behind a stunned group of teenagers. They had witnessed something truly terrifying, something that would forever be etched in their memories. As they fled the mansion, the legend of Bloody Mary continued to grow, passed down from generation to generation. But from that day forward, the teenagers knew that the ghost was not just a myth, but a terrifying reality. And they also knew that even in the darkest corners of the human soul, there was a glimmer of hope, a chance for redemption. Years later, the mansion had fallen into disrepair, its windows boarded up and its once grand gardens overgrown with weeds. But the legend of Bloody Mary persisted, and there were those who still dared to test the old ritual. One such person was a young woman named Emily, who was drawn to the mansion by its mysterious allure. She had heard the stories of Bloody Mary, and she was determined to experience the supernatural for herself. One night, Emily ventured into the abandoned mansion. The interior was dark and foreboding, the air thick with dust and decay. She made her way to the bathroom, the site of Bloody Mary's tragic end. Emily stood in front of the mirror, her heart pounding in her chest. She took a deep breath and spoke the words, her voice echoing in the empty room. "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." A cold draft swept through the room and the lights flickered. Emily's reflection in the mirror began to distort, her features becoming blurred and indistinct. A chilling smile spread across her face, and her eyes turned a deep, unnatural red. Suddenly the mirror shattered, sending shards of glass flying in all directions. Emily screamed as a cold, icy hand reached out from the mirror and grabbed her. She tried to pull away, but the hand was stronger than she was. The room filled with a blinding light, and Emily found herself standing in a strange, ethereal realm. Before her, bathed in a crimson glow, stood Bloody Mary, her face twisted in a mask of pure hatred. "You have summoned me," Bloody Mary hissed, her voice like the wind howling through a graveyard. "Now you must pay the price." Emily tried to run, but her legs felt like lead. Bloody Mary raised her hand, and a wave of darkness enveloped Emily, plunging her into eternal darkness.